Hey, and welcome in. My name's Tom, and this is Tom's Interesting Talk. And today we're going to discuss one step back. We're going to discuss one step back, and we're going to look at some of the Department of Homeland Security's policies on de escalation. Because I believe, just from doing a basic AI mode Google search on rules of engagement for DHS and how one step back could have saved a life rather than put your cell phone down and draw your weapon. Honestly and truly, in my opinion, I'm just a regular average Joe sitting here talking to you because I'm a concerned citizen. I'm concerned that a woman lost her life because a guy chose to hold his phone and then got nervous and pulled his gun out rather than simply keep his phone in his hand and step one step back. And a woman would not have lost her life. A 6-year-old child would not be motherless. A partner would not be partnerless. And you and I would not be having this discussion about ICE agents and DHS agents not following their own guidelines. So let's read through a little bit on the rules of engagement for DHS. The Department of Homeland Security does not use the term rules of engagement in the same military sense, combat engagement. Instead, it utilizes formal use of force policy and specific rules of engagement. Number one, use of force policy for field engagement. This is the main one we're going to read today because I think this is eye-opening. And why wasn't one step back the first thought? We'll talk about that. As of 2026, DHS law enforcement officers, LEOs, are guided by updated protocols designed to prioritize the preservation of life and de-escalation. What's the de-escalation, huh? One step back. That's de-escalation. In my opinion, anyway. That's the way I look at it. Respect for human life. Not shooting a guy in the face with a pepper ball from point blank range. That's not de-escalation. The primary directive is that respect for human life and the communities served must guide all LEO actions. Standards of force. Officers may only use a level of force that is objectively reasonable based on the circumstances. One step back. That was the circumstances. At the most, 2 steps back. De-escalation first is the next little category in this AI search. Officers are trained in tactics that resolve encounters without force whenever possible. Let's just think about that. I think it was very possible that one step back would have been okay with that. duty to intervene. And this is the one part of this whole thing that I find the most interesting, because there was 4 ICE agents on this scene. And what's crazy for Renee Nicole Good, say her name! Renee Nicole Good was being told 2 different things. Jonathan Ross had told her to move. Move. The other 3 agents that walked up after the fact told her to get the fuck out of the car. Get the fuck out of the car. Get the fuck out of the car! Now, de-escalation. Why didn't Jonathan Ross tell the other agents, whoa, I've told her to move. She's moving out of the situation. Step back. I've got this under control. Instead, he let his 3 counterparts come up and tell her, get the fuck out of the car, and escalate an already volatile situation. These are not de-escalation tactics. Not at all. Not even by a little bit. So, duty to intervene. Officers have a mandatory duty to intervene if they witness another officer using excessive force. Restricted tactics, Moving vehicles. Officers generally may not shoot into moving vehicles or place themselves in front of them. This is just a basic Google search on DHS Rules of Engagement. So what the fuck? Chokeholds. Prohibited unless deadly force is authorized. Well, who authorizes deadly force in that moment? I guess the agent themselves, huh? Moving vehicles. Officers generally may not shoot into moving vehicles or place themselves in front of them. No duty to retreat. This one kind of is confusing to me. Despite the focus on de-escalation, current policy does not strictly require officers to retreat to avoid using force. Now, see, this is a rule here, which I think kind of muddies up the water in this whole respect life, standards of force, de-escalation first, duty to intervene. I think this one muddies up the water a bit. And something that we probably need to look at when it comes to our DHS officers and ICE agents, Border Patrol, and all these people involved in these sorts of things. This rule right here specifically, duty to retreat. Despite the focus on de-escalation, current policy does not strictly require officers to retreat to avoid use of force. Now, my question, use of force. Is that shooting somebody in the face? Is that pumping 3 rounds potentially into Nicole Renee Good? Say her name! Nicole Renee Good. Man, I'm telling you, these, just in the basics. 1 step back saves a life. 1 step back, a 6-year-old has his mother. 1 step back, a partner has their partner. It's pretty simple. We respect human life. We respect other Americans. We respect other Americans' rights to be out protesting. We respect other people's rights to live and breathe in their neighborhood. Let's go down this just a little bit more. Social media. Employees are prohibited from speaking on behalf of the department on personal social media accounts without explicit authorization. Jonathan Ross using his cell phone that day to record that scene rather than a body cam, because I believe they're supposed to have a body cam like most regular police people. I'm very upset about this. This has activated me as a citizen. This has activated every bit as a father, as a partner, as the father of a daughter. What if this was my daughter that was out protesting? My young daughter. Because our kids like to be oppositional defiant. Our kids like to go against the grain. Our kids like to get out there and let their voices be heard. In the America that I know, that's okay. As long as it's within the laws, and it's respectful. I'm just upset about this, you guys. Renee Nicole Good lost her life because this gentleman, Jonathan Ross, did not use leadership skills by letting his other officers know that he had already given this woman a command, and by not stepping back one step. One step. I often think to myself, God, if you were, say, a police officer, and let's just go hypothetical, if you were a police officer in, say, Texas, and, when you are a police officer, you deal with people on the worst day of their life in almost every situation that you encounter. So you see the worst in people. You're dealing with these horrific situations, car wrecks, drug addiction, fights, abuse. There's just so many things that you deal with. I think as responsible, emotional, mature adults, that fucks your head up. That gets into your head. That creates trauma where you don't even quite realize that trauma's been created. That you put up walls to protect yourself against seeing the atrocities of the worst day of these people's lives that you're trying to serve. I don't know if Jonathan Ross was in the correct headspace to police on this day, especially having dealt with a car dragging 6 months before that and being hurt. Did he see a psychologist? Did he talk about how that made him feel? Did he talk about these situations with somebody? Was he in the right mindset to be out there on January 7th holding a gun at Renee Nicole Good? Say her name! Nicole Renee Good. That's who lost their life. The mother of a 6-year-old. The partner of another person. A daughter. We've got to respect life. I understand that our two-party system has us just up against the wall. The pendulum swings only two ways, to the left or to the right. If it's the Republicans in office, the Democrats are going to be upset. If it's the Democrats in office, the Republicans are going to be upset. This is the way it goes. But one thing we can rest assured is that we have respect for both sides as Americans, as citizens of this country. I don't know, you guys. One thing I can tell you for sure, that I know for a fact, an absolute fact. When this country was founded, when this country came about, when we broke from the monarchy and came to this country, all of us were immigrants. Every single one of us have been an immigrant in this country at some point. Who was here before us? The Indians. The Indians are the only ones in this country that are not immigrants. The only ones. Crime is not cool. Should we manage our crime? Yes. Are criminals acceptable? No. But there is a degree to that. We get the crime, we get the people out of here that are committing crimes. We get the people out of here that are committing atrocities against our Americans. We get the people out of this country that are doing things that we do not see as lawful. The 60-year-old lady that's been here for 25 years, had multiple children, and has raised people that are in the Navy, in the Marines, in the Army, maybe serving the police force. These are not the criminals we need to be going after. These are American citizens that just haven't gotten their immigration status yet. Understand, immigrants that do not have papers, undocumented immigrants, they pay in taxes that they're never going to see the benefit of until they get status. And then they're never going to see it anyway. Undocumented immigrants help drive our Social Security system because they're paying into a system they're never going to get benefits of. We really need to reconsider and think about what we really have going on in this country. Man, I know the rhetoric is hard to look past. And I know racial bias makes us, oh my God, be fearful. And I know our two-party system, when we don't have a good leader on one of each side that just wants to keep creating hate and discontent and splitting us apart left and right. But just think about it when you're not in power. When the right's not in power, well, then the left's going to be in power. So do you not want the same respect? I think so. I think so. We've got to understand that we're all Americans. We really got to be smart about this. We're all immigrants. We were all immigrants at one point. What if the Indians had us outnumbered in the beginning? They could have literally just wiped us the fuck out. I'm frustrated, obviously. And I'm frustrated that Renee Nicole Good is dead.